But the problem with playing right here is, again, what's the first thing that the enemies are going to see when they peek you, right? It's going to be right here, right? Almost like every single rank, the first thing they're going to look at and aim at is going to be right at you, because this is what they know. And there's a good chance that as they come out in lower ranks, or in any ranks, they're not even going to check over here. You can still notice that my bullets are fairly accurate. So you can tap or bursting is the optimal way to shoot in this game. The first few bullets of your gun are, if you're controlling for them properly. If you find information like this throughout the video helpful, make sure to check out the full Valorant Competitive Fundamentals course in my Patreon link down in the description below. Basically, it's information just like it is throughout this video, except for over a full hour. Hey guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you some fundamental Valorant tips that can again turn you into a pro. So if you guys like this series, let me know. I'll make some more of these tip videos. But for the very first tip today, I'm going to be teaching you that you should not be playing directly in corners. You should be playing something we call off angles. So off angles are basically, if you want to play this corner right here, instead of playing it like this, you want to play it kind of like this, right? This is called an off angle. If they clear a corner, they're going to be going like this. So that's why you want to be playing a little bit off. It gives you a big advantage. You're just going to have them if they're looking in your direction. If they're not, again, you can always let them pass a little bit. It'll peek like this. This is fine, for example, if you have an op or if you're just feeling really confident in your aim. But oftentimes what I like to do is kind of cross over here and kind of play out in the middle or right here up against the wall. It's going to look something like this. They're just going to walk out and then they have to do a crazy flick in order to kill you. And they're probably not going to hit that flick, right? So that's why this can be really good. So guys, let's just think of one other example over here on the other side of the map of where this could be potentially useful. Okay, well, this is just B main, right? So it's the same thing. This is basically the same thing, right? Feeling confident in your aim. But generally, what are they going to be looking at first? They're going to be looking at you, right? Even if they're going to consider like slowly kind of clearing this, slicing the pie like you guys already know to do from my previous tip videos. We're going to be a fast A push, right? So what should we do in this scenario? Well, there's a couple things you can do. One thing is shout, and then it's 5v4, right? And you're favored for the round. If you're Reyna, you do the same thing, but with dismiss, it's going to be the best thing for you to do, given their comp and how they've been playing so far. You know you might get steamrolled, then all you want is a lot A main, and then you can ask for a smoke, and I would probably come over here and cover cat. You can also just kind of play close here. Depends on if you have teammates with you. If you have teammates back, hold cat, maybe come all the way back here and just kind of hold cat. And basically the reason we're coming back, it might seem passive and prepared, then like if your team's not prepared as the defenders, there's no point in trying to fight something that's going to be heavily, and you've already tried fighting, then it's going to be a good idea to kind of just back up, let your team regroup, make sure you have cat held down, and you know this applies to every map, or every site, right? On every map. Hold an off angle like this and try to catch one of them because there's a good chance they're not going to be looking at you right here. You can also, in certain situations on defense. In this situation, we're going to be talking a little bit about attacking, pushing, and when to rotate. So let's say that we went here on A on pistol round. We've won the last 2 or 3 rounds in a row. And now 3 people here, or maybe even 4. And you're going to want to listen for audio cues, or, for example, say that like Gecko, or you flash, and then you hear like 3 flashes. That's a great thing about Reyna flash. Do we flash and you hear 3 people shoot the flash, you know that instantly, like, okay, there's a lot of people here. Let's go ahead and leave. And so what is, you can just book it through here or all the way through here, through spawn to go B, because you know that the majority of the team, this applies on any time you're attacking, whenever you hear that there's more than 2 people. And even sometimes if you hear that there's 2 people, you might want to rotate. But generally if there's more than 2, like 3, 4, or 5, then you're going to want to leave. We can also lurk up mid as our team is fully rotating to B and catch some of these rotators here unexpectedly. A lot of times they might even have their knives out. In lower ranks and high ranks, they're not going to be as unaware, but I wouldn't recommend crossing, but you can just hold something like this, get one, and then dismiss, come through market over here, and go reconvene with your team. But this is a great example of how you can kind of use rotations to your advantage. Alright guys, in this tip we're going to be talking about recoil and kind of how it works in Valorant. So first of all, the first thing you need to understand is that spray patterns are they're not really patterns. They're more randomized in Valorant than they are in a game like Counter-Strike. So for that reason, it's going to be much less predictable and much harder to control whenever you're spraying, especially from farther ranges. However, when you're up close, I'm going to show you guys, you can actually control it. I'm going to try to control the bullets each time I'm shooting here. You can see I can get this pretty close. So even at this range, like you can spray. Let's try a little bit farther away. You know, it's still pretty, like, if I was shooting in his chest, this would still be connecting with most of the bullets. And then from a little farther again, here, you know, it's kind of okay, but it's starting to get to a point where, like, it's a little bit more inconsistent. And then if we're really far away here, even if I'm trying, this is just not going to be the optimal way of shooting. And so if you're spraying from this, if you're crouch spraying from this range, it's not optimal. That is for sure, right? Another way to shoot is bursting, so 2 to 4 bullets. This is going to be quite accurate even farther back, if you can do it correctly, if you can control for your bullets correctly. And if they come really far back, you can still notice that my bullets are fairly accurate. So you can tap or bursting is the optimal way to shoot in this game. The first few bullets of your gun are, if you're controlling for them properly, like if I just don't control, sometimes you see like it's gonna go up. But if you're slightly pulling down whenever you shoot, then after practicing this a little bit, you can get these bullets exactly in the same spot. Meaning, if you're shooting someone in the head, if you're about to 140 someone, you're gonna hit them twice, right? So you can either tap with the Vandal, or you can burst with the Vandal or Phantom. And these are the ideal ways to shoot at far to medium ranges. If you're close to medium ranges, then you can absolutely spray. But generally, it's going to be better overall to just be aiming for the head, even in close to medium ranges, because you're able to kill the enemy quicker, which means there's less time for them to react and potentially kill you. So spraying in a lot of scenarios is not great unless there's like multiple enemies, or if you're just spraying through a smoke. Obviously that's going to be quite a bit different. But if you're one-on-one fight with someone, instead of committing to a spray, oftentimes you'll want to just try to hit them in the head. This is a good way to practice. I like to do this a lot. So you can tap here, or you can burst, but generally tapping is like the big brother of bursting, if that makes sense. The final tip, guys, is to pick an agent pool that is consistent across the board with your playstyle and not flexing every single game. So oftentimes I'll get inquiries for coaching. If you guys want to be coached, add me on Discord, by the way. I'll get people, I'll ask them their ranks, or the ranks in their agents, and they'll tell me, oh, I play Astra, Killjoy, Neon, Phoenix, Reyna, and Sage. And I'm like, okay. And, you know, we can have this discussion of like, okay, well, you know, these characters are not necessarily all the same playstyle, and it might actually be better for you as an improving player to first pick one role or maybe 2 roles and like 2 to 3 to 4 agents that you're really comfortable with between that role or roles, right? So generally, if you're really dedicated to this idea and you like this idea, I would recommend 1 to 2 agents in one role and really get good at them. You want to be a little flexible like at first, but after you kind of learn those few agents, then you can kind of move over to adding more agents, right? We want to be really good at a few agents instead of a little good at a lot of agents, right? Does that make sense, right? You don't really want to be like really good, like slightly good at Astra, Breach, Killjoy, Neon, Omen. If you could be really, really good at just Astra and Omen, right? And that's going to allow you to actually understand a lot more about those agents and a lot more about the controller role in general. Now, you might be a little worried about, oh, but what if my teammate wants to play this? First of all, no one on your team is going to want to play Astra. And if you luck Omen from someone, I can guarantee they're probably not going to say anything. And at the end of the day, it's your rank that you're fighting for. That might be a little selfish, but we are playing solo queue in a lot of these games. So, you know, although you can flex a little bit, try to get comfortable with insta-locking, with picking, and fill later. Fill after you're more capable and competent on your own. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you again very, very soon.